Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. There's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The Government of Barbados took a firm stand against a viral music video promoting gun violence in the country. This story takes the lead in our 1126th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Thursday, 3rd June 2021. Details after this break.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Prominent artists have been chastised by the Minister of Home Affairs and Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados over their part in a music video that went viral as it sought to promote gun violence in the tourism-dependent nation. Prime Minister Mottley demanded that they apologize to the people of Barbados and remove the video from the stratosphere. More in these two news items from Barbados Today Online News.
Irresponsible to the highest order. That's how Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams has described the viral music video featuring prominent dancehall artists Lil Rick and Peter Ram. The pro-gangster explicit lyrics, which delivered death threats to gangland informants, has resulted in much public outrage and condemnation by the Home Affairs Minister, with viewers taking to social media to blast the video. Minister Abrams said while he accepted that there is artistic expression, it must not be irresponsible, and he said he was prepared to recommend to ministers that government send the strongest possible message to artists and people that the song would not be tolerated. The minister was adamant that government's priority is to stamp out gun violence and made it clear that the administration does not condone the use of illegal firearms in any form or fashion.
Horrifying. That's how Prime Minister Mia Mottley this evening described a viral video featuring some top local entertainers. The 16-minute video, called the Trojan Rhythm Barbados Dancehall Mix, includes violent and obscene language and glorifies gun violence. An outraged Mottley declared her government's zero-tolerance approach to violence as she issued a warning to the artists involved.
I want to say that I am horrified at the video, and I am personally disappointed in the artists who have not recognized that there is an obligation on their part to be able to accept that to whom much is given, much is expected. These artists, many of them, have labored in the vineyard, struggle in the periphery, and have reached a point where they have achieved, in some instances, national acclaim. But national acclaim carries with it the burden of responsibility. And while there may be some who may claim that there is artistic license for artists, let us remember that not everyone in our society understands the use of artistic license or sarcasm. And that is why, for example, we often have to speak recognizing that there are some among us for whom there is not the maturity or not the wisdom to recognize that this is not how you behave in a civilized society. I want to say that there has to be a zero-tolerance approach to gun violence in this country. And there are those who sometimes have to be awoken to the reality that you cannot play light with issues such as this.
She demanded an immediate apology from the artists and called for the video to be removed.
Any government with which I'm associated cannot and will not be supporting anybody who fails to apologize to the people of this country for this behavior. I'm not asking you to apologize to me nor to the government, but you need to apologize to the people of Barbados because there are too many victims of gun crime in this country, as recent as today. And this country cannot in any way have any level of tolerance for anyone who promotes gun violence in any form. Well, I don't even like toy guns, far less real guns. And the bottom line is that we also have to recognize that persons who have put this video up have a responsibility to take it down. And in addition, therefore, to the apology, I expect you to take it down. And I say again that the government cannot support anyone who believes that it is okay to compartmentalize our support for them in one place and take it away in another place with respect to the use of gun violence.
Entertainer Peter Ram was first out of the blocks with his apology. He issued his statement even before the PM's call.
Yes, my good people, this is Peter Ram, and I come here to express sincere, my humblest apology to all of my followers, fans, sponsors, along with the general public. Everybody, you don't know, for the lyrical content that was freestyle on a rhythm a year and a half ago. You know what I mean? It was never my intention to offend anyone, you know? So as one of Barbados' top entertainers, I deeply apologize to all of my fans, all of my friends, you don't know, and all of the little kids that look up to me. You know what I mean? See a mistake, acknowledge the mistake, and you come. You know what I mean? Big man thing. Apologize. So large off all I want to say, we don't know we love Barbados. We don't know we keeping Barbados nice.
In a statement, entertainer Mole also apologized to the public. He said he never intended for the song to be offensive or to incite any form of social unrest. He assured the public he remains committed to producing enjoyable, positive music for the future.
A senior government operative in Barbados has questioned the true level of the Barbados government's investment in LIAT, warning them to come clean to the people of Barbados.
The government's chief auditor is questioning a lack of full disclosure by the state regarding the true level of its investment in regional airline LIAT. Auditor General Lee Trotman, in his 2020 annual report, said the investment in the airline was recorded in the financial statements as at March 31st, 2019, at just over $214 million. The figure, he stated, was based on capital injections into the entity. He said since the agency has faced financial difficulties and other challenges, the amounts listed should have represented the fair value rather than the sums injected. Trotman added that as a result, issues related to LIAT were not adequately disclosed in the notes of the financial statements.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
405 more COVID-19 cases, in addition to 12 new deaths, have been reported in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Ministry of Health says the new cases were from samples taken during the period May 24 to May 31 and not the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of active cases in the country to 9,558. 6 men and 6 women were among the latest COVID-19 deaths. The death toll now stands at 507. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health continues with its vaccination program. To date, 98,559 persons have received the first dose of vaccine. The rollout of the second dose of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine is scheduled to begin on June 7 at 5 mass vaccination sites throughout the country.
In Belize, manslaughter by negligence is the charge laid on Jasmine Hartin for the shooting death of Superintendent Henry Gemot.
Late this evening, 32-year-old Jasmine Hartin was arraigned in the San Pedro Magistrates Court for the charge of manslaughter by negligence for the shooting death of Superintendent Henry Gemot. The charge was levied following a directive given by the Director of Public Prosecutions this afternoon.
Our investigation team have completed the investigation, and the file is now with the Director of Public Prosecution while we await her instructions as to what charge or charges will be preferred against the accused person. May I say that contrary to what the social media experts and trial attorneys and prosecutors have been saying, that the accused woman remains in police custody until after we have gotten the directive. She will remain in custody until then.
Sir, are you able to tell us if the investigation is showing clear positive signs that an arrest can be made?
I am not going to comment on that at this time. As I said, we have completed our investigation and the file is with the DPP, I trust the competence of the DPP. We all know that she's an exceptional prosecutor and an exceptional DPP. And I'm sure that after having looked at all the evidence that we have presented to her, she's going to come to the right decision in terms of how we proceed.
Harton has been in police custody since last Friday when the incident occurred. According to official reports, she and the deceased were on a dock in front of Mata Rocks Beach Resort south of the town when sometime before 1 a.m. a single shot was heard. A bullet from Jamat's service weapon caught him behind the right ear. His body was discovered in the water beside the dock. Harton was found with blood on her clothes and hands.
She provided a statement under caution.
Sir, do police have a clear indication as to what happened that night in terms of the sequence of events?
We cannot say we have a clear understanding of what happened because we were not there. The only two persons who could have said that to us would have been the deceased and Miss Harton. You would know that the deceased is dead. He cannot speak for himself. Dead man carries no tail. Miss Harton have given her version of what she said transpired.
Her arraignment today was not without challenges. Around midday, the media was removed from the second floor of the building where the public court proceedings would take place later this evening. We know that she is represented by attorney Godfrey Smith and that up to news time, arguments were being heard as to whether or not bail should be granted to Harton. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
St. Lucia's Chief Medical Officer urges COVID-19 compliance, citing numerous outbreaks emanating from bars. Joachim Duplessis of HTS News Force reports.
The Ministry of Health has expressed unease about the continued diagnosis of COVID-19 cases locally. Moreover, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar George, in the latest media update, cited outbreaks from bars as a source of concern. Health officials have noted that the island recorded a total of 185 new cases in 14 days, with most of the recent infections reported in the south.
The majority of the cases were seen in the southern region of the island and Babonneau and Grosley in the north. We continue to manage numerous outbreaks emanating from local bars. The Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to support and collaborate with the Ministry of Education in the safe reopening of schools and is pleased with the progress for the last month. The school administration and teachers are encouraged to continue working with the students to ensure a safe educational environment is maintained at all times. The continued diagnosis of cases noted is of concern to the Ministry of Health and Wellness as we continue strengthening the necessary public health systems to manage at this point. The Ministry of Health alerts the public that we are still in a vulnerable position based on the high risk of introduction of COVID-19 and the variants of concern from the developed countries and neighboring Martinique and transmission in country due to inconsistent compliance to the protocols.
The Chief Medical Officer, while acknowledging the increase in socializing as citizens emerge from lockdowns and other restrictions, implores St. Lucians to adhere to the life-saving public health measures.
We note the increase in social activities across the island, especially on the weekends, and the general relaxation of the public health measures. We continue to advise the public to remain vigilant, adhere to the protocols that are put in place to keep us safe. These include regular hand washing, the use of the face mask in public places covering the mouth, nose, and chin, avoiding crowds and people with respiratory symptoms, and keeping frequently touched surfaces clean.
Medical researchers are still working on developing therapeutics to treat COVID-19. In the meantime, apart from the public health measures of mask wearing and physical distancing, vaccines remain the most effective tool in staving off severe illnesses and a trip to the hospital. Public health authorities continue to exhort St. Lucians to take the shot.
We are privileged to have access to vaccines in the COVID-19 fight. Vaccination remains the most effective public health measure in managing infectious diseases. The AstraZeneca vaccine has been proven to be safe and effective in protecting people from developing COVID-19, its severe forms, complications, hospitalizations, and death. We continue to urge the public to access the various sites to get immunized at the soonest. The vaccine is available free of charge to the public at many venues on a daily basis.
Recently, The government announced that fully vaccinated returning nationals with proof of a negative PCR COVID-19 test would not have to quarantine. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.